Something sweet at the end of a meal was a norm at my childhood home in Kolkata. It still is. They say you can take a Bengali out of Kolkata, but you can't take the love of sweets out of a Bengali. That's certainly the case with me. While Gulab Jamun did not originate in Kolkata, it's one of those Indian sweets that has taken the world by storm. So I thought I would make it for you today. Making the dough is the essence of this dish. The dough sounds pretty straightforward, but it's quite complex. There are only 6 ingredients, and it comes together in under 5 minutes. But they are right when they say that the simplest things are the most difficult to perfect. There is no place to hide. I should also note for the Gulab Jamun police out there that traditionally this dessert is made with khoya or milk solids. I'm using a combination of milk powder and flour in equal proportions to create a very similar taste and texture. The softest Gulab Jamuns are made with fresh khoya, and it's pretty much impossible to source that here in Las Vegas. Maybe someday I will make khoya from scratch, but that's for another time. After many failed attempts, I've learned that in order to produce a soft, juicy, and intact Gulab Jamun, you need to balance the milk powder to flour ratio perfectly and incorporate the right amount of cream. The amount of cream can vary, so this is a perfect place to use the most powerful tool you have, your senses. Add the cream slowly and feel the dough. It should feel like Play-Doh. Make any of these mistakes and they will be chewy and dense or fall apart as soon as you lower them into the hot oil. In case you're wondering, I've made all of these mistakes. The flavor is floral and aromatic. I use green cardamom, my favorite spice and ubiquitous in most Indian confectionery. It perfectly complements the richness of the Gulab Jamun and the other flavors in the syrup. The consistency of the syrup is key. It's on the thinner side, which allows the Gulab Jamuns to absorb the flavorful liquid and attain the juiciness that we absolutely need in a good Gulab Jamun. If the center is dense and dry, either your syrup was too thick or the Gulab Jamun wasn't cooked through. The next flavoring agent I employ is saffron, the king of spices. Its sweet earthiness gives way to the mellow floral notes that work so well with the cardamom. The syrup is quite cloudy at the moment, and so I add a few drops of lime to clarify it. Lastly, but most importantly, I add a tiny bit of rose water to further punctuate that floral scent. After all, gulab means rose in Hindi. I rested the dough for 10 to 15 minutes to allow the dry ingredients to absorb the moisture from the cream. Now we are ready to shape our Gulab Jamuns. I'm making 5, 1 for now and 2 for later. I'm going to share with Ross, of course. My home is perfumed by the floral notes of the syrup and the caramelized aroma of the ghee. It's enchanting. It's important to grease your hands with some ghee to prevent the Gulab Jamuns from sticking while you shape them. This also ensures that they have a smooth outer surface. Apply gentle pressure while shaping the dough to make sure that there are no cracks on the surface of the Gulab Jamun. Otherwise, they will burst open when you fry them. If they crack, don't worry, they will still be just as delicious. The golden rule with frying is to fry at a low temperature to cook and at a high temperature to crisp. We don't need the Gulab Jamuns to be crisp. We need them to be cooked through. So I maintain the temperature of the oil between 300 and 325 degrees Fahrenheit. The most important thing is that you must keep stirring them gently all throughout the frying process, because otherwise they won't be evenly golden on all sides, and no one wants a patchy Gulab Jamun. The Gulab Jamuns need to be immersed in the lukewarm syrup as soon as they come out of the hot oil. This allows them to soak up the syrup and get flavorful and plump. I soaked mine for about 3 hours, but you don't need to wait that long. An hour is usually enough to saturate the Gulab Jamuns with this incredibly floral syrup. These are simply divine on their own, but a little extra something can make them truly sparkle. I use some crushed pistachios because I just love the buttery, sweet nuttiness of them, and the bright green color offers a stark contrast against the golden brown of the Gulab Jamuns. I couldn't help but eat one. This one is just for me. A little extra syrup never hurt anyone. If we're indulging, let's go all the way. Otherwise, what's the point, really? I adore decorating anything with gold leaf, but this gulab jamun is just begging for it. It's almost too good to eat. Almost. I add some crushed dried rose petals to echo the flavors in the syrup. A touch more pistachios, just for me. My dessert spoon sinks into it without much resistance, which is indicative of the perfect texture. They're cooked through, juicy, and an absolute delight to eat. Now all I need is a scoop of ice cream. After all, food is all about contrasts, and so is life. Wouldn't you agree?